Hello, this is RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Mobile Weekly / Mobile Q&A. We go over all the latest news that happened during the week and answer your questions live. Now, if you have a question you want to ask, just ask it in the comment section down below, and I will answer it before the end of the show. Now, before we get to the main topics, I did want to go over some stuff. So for one, if you have followed us for a while, you know it's our giveaway time. So tomorrow night we will be announcing the giveaway winners for the month of June, and we'll be announcing what products we're giving away for the month of July. If you haven't seen our giveaway before, it's in our Patreon page in the description. Basically, all you have to do is donate $1, and that allows us to buy $100 products now, because you guys have been awesome and we're up to over $100 now. So we're buying over $100 products. I'm trying to buy at least 3 products a month, so you guys get multiple winners every month, and I ship it out to you guys. I don't make any profit from this. I just literally use it to buy products so that I can review them and then ship to you guys. So basically, I just like to, because it allows me to review stuff that I normally can't review. Now, we are having a lot of accessories, a lot of different things we're reviewing over the next week or so a lot of videos coming. So thank you guys for just, the channel's been growing, so thank you guys for that. I also wanted to touch on one thing though, and that is our website. So for our website, for those of you who do not know, it is the YouTubeTechGuy.com, and I'm going to probably do a separate video for this, but I'm going to start asking you guys to actually submit photos, because what I've had here for a while now is the video of the month on here. I've had the photo of the month, and I've been the one taking all the photos, so just whatever new photo I take basically with whatever smartphone I'm using, that has been the photo for the month. I want you guys to start submitting photos, so it's going to be at my email, which is right down below, YouTubeTechGuy@gmail.com. And you guys are going to send in basically whatever photo you think is a wow photo, what phone you took it with. Of course, no nudity, no vulgar stuff, nothing like that will be accepted. And just make sure your subject is monthly photo, and I will highlight your photo on our channel. Allow me to, yes, you have permission to post my photo. And then I'll post it on here so everyone can see your photo, and I'll put your username or regular name, whatever you want me to put, and I'll put that on there for you guys. I'm going to start using the website to post what monthly giveaways we have. So if you don't know, July we have are giving away the Echo Show, the new one that just came out that we did the unboxing for the other day, as well as we're going to give away 2 Bluetooth headphones. So those are all being given away in July, and that'll kind of be highlighted on the front page from now on. Another thing I just wanted to remind you guys that if you do want to check out our OLED wallpapers, I'm still trying to get it to go up to the 2K 4K quality that these were originally at. As of right now, they're only at 720p display, but these are some great looking wallpapers. So if you've not checked out the website, we have some great looking wallpapers that just look amazing and perfect for OLED displays, and they just will make your phone background look amazing. So yeah. Alright guys, now without further ado, let's break down the news for this week. And a big shout out goes to OnLeaks, because he had definitely the biggest leak of the week, a fully assembled iPhone. So this was all around fully assembled. So again, we're seeing this is the final build of the iPhone. And he had a video on it. Go ahead and check him out right here at OnLeaks on Twitter. And yeah, he had a lot to show, basically a full video on it. And you can kind of see the front and the back. This is how the iPhone X, iPhone 8, whatever you want to call it, will look on the front, and this is how it will look on the back. So this is the new fully assembled iPhone. It was funny because just last week I told you guys we were going to get a fully assembled iPhone before July ends, and looks like we're already getting one fully assembled. Now we don't still have one active yet. I think that'll be harder to find one active, like actually on with iOS software. But that being said, we pretty much have everything we need to know now. This is the new iPhone. This is the iPhone X, iPhone 8, Apple phone, whatever you want to call it. This is the new one that is going to be announced at the end of September and come out at the beginning of October. That being said, again, we will still have the iPhone 7s and 7s Plus. This one, however, will be $1,069. So start saving up if you haven't already. All right. We are also having the newly leaked Note 8 image. And this just basically, again, confirms the image we saw earlier this week. We did do a breaking news video of the phone with the case. So this is a 3D rendering, but of course we had the full image of the Note 8 already there. And yes, it looks like the fingerprint sensor is on the back. This is the third confirmation. We have it. The Note 8 will have the fingerprint sensor on the back. However, what they are doing is putting this part in between the camera and the fingerprint sensor. So just let me make it bigger just so you guys can see. So right here on the S8 design, we have a camera, then we have a fingerprint sensor on one side, and the heart rate monitor, as well as the flashes on the other side. What they're doing is they're moving the flash on this side so to give you a bigger gap between the camera and the fingerprint sensor here, so you're never gonna accidentally hit it anymore. I think again this will be great if you're holding the phone with your more so if you're, it's hard to tell, because if you're going like this, I feel like that's going to be a bit awkward because it's going to be a little bit more on this side to unlock it. However, this side, again, I've never had any trouble with my right hand. I feel it's the left hand that kind of has more issues with it. So again, my recommendation is if you get a case, you can easily always find it just because you can slide off the case and always hit it without ever damaging your camera. But that is what we're getting from the Note 8. Again, this is the about third confirmation, so this is the Note 8. Now, the other big thing that I touched on the breaking news segment that I told you guys I would tell you more about is the dual lens camera. So here's the thing. It looks like, and let me zoom into this photo just so we can get, just so we can get a clear image of the photo. We have dual 13 megapixel cameras, one RGB and one black and white. What does that mean? The black and white one basically is going to have a difference in terms of just how to shoot. But here's the thing about it. It has a difference of a 1.12 sensor. So that is going to be different from the current one, which let's take a look. The S8 has a 1.4 on the latest sensor. So that's a bit concerning because we're going from a 1.4 to a 1.12, which is a smaller sensor. I cannot believe this is going to be the sensor on the Note 8. I think this is more of a demonstration of how they're going to work, because if this is a sensor on the Note 8, it's not going to be as good as the current sensor on the S8. It really is not. There's just, you know, everything about this is just not what it should be. F2.0 lens, it's a lower aperture, or it's a higher aperture, meaning that you're not going to have as good low light shots. And the fact that the sensors are smaller is again a big red flag. I quite frankly do not think this is, this could be maybe something older. Again, Samsung has had these kind of dual lens sensors since over a year ago in the works. So I think this was more of a concept. I do not think this is the sensors on there. I know a lot of people asked me about this after it was kind of brought up, but I do not think this is what we're getting. Let me know what you guys think. Again, for me, I think it's pretty clean cut that this is not what we're getting. It's just, it would not make sense in terms of quality as an improvement. All right, and in other news, Vivo did work with Qualcomm to put out Qualcomm's software and then their hardware to show that yes, you could have a fingerprint sensor screen. So they were the first one who have fully assembled a phone with an active working fingerprint sensor. So you put it on there. A couple of people try to trick it. You could even do it in water. This technology is really great, but Qualcomm's technology will not be ready till 2018. So if, say, Samsung wants to use this technology, well, then they have to use it in 2018, which means it will come on the S9 and not the Note 8. So that is what we're getting from this as of right now. Now, again, Samsung could use another technology, LG could use another technology. They don't have to use Qualcomm's, but from what Qualcomm has for this technology, theirs is ready as of the beginning of 2018. Which would be in line with the S9. However, LG is supposed to try to launch their G7 before Samsung launches their S9. So that's going to be closer to possibly even CES. So really kind of interested to see how it's going to go down and which phones are going to have this technology. Do you think for next year in 2018, do you expect every phone that you like to have the fingerprint sensor in the screen? Quite frankly, I think it will become the standard next year. I think it looks like iPhone's going to be the first major player to do it this year, and then everyone will have followed suit by the end of next year. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. That's how I see it going down, but let me know what you guys think. It looks like Apple's easily going to beat this competition. If they do not have it on the power button, that's the only other place it could be. If they do not have it on the power button, which I honestly don't think it is at this point, I'm pretty sure it's on the screen. Now, Samsung also officially released this, that the Note 7 Fan Edition is coming out on July 7th. So at the end of this week, it will be officially coming out. Now, this is only in Korea as of right now. And basically, it's going to have all of the Note 7 specs, except for, again, the smaller battery, 3,200 milliamp battery instead of 3,500 milliamp battery. And also, you are actually going to have Bixby. So this is the second Samsung device with Bixby on it. So that we are getting this time around. So that is going to be it as well on there. New type of controllers coming from Samsung's VR. Now, I quite frankly saw this a couple of years ago, but basically these are motion sensors. And now they made them magnetic, I guess, so you can actually snap them together. But the whole idea behind these sensors was to give you motion control with your hand. So it wraps around your wrist, or sorry, not your wrist, your palm. It wraps around your palm and you have motion sensor. When I saw it at CES, the game they were demonstrating was Iron Man. And basically you are firing like this. And firing, like, you know, robots down or whatever it was at the time. I think that was when Iron Man 3 was out, so I think that's what they were doing. So again, really cool concept to have motion control with a much cheaper price point VR system. That is the end game, and as good as the standard currently motion control for VR, for the Gear VR is, this is light years ahead of it. And finally, the last bit of news, it looks like we do have confirmation that LG V30 will have wireless charging as well, and it looks like it's going to have a sealed battery. Now that might upset some people, that it looks like that the LG V30 will be the last LG to abandon the removable battery. There will no longer be removable batteries flat out with any flagship devices. They are all built in. However, LG is making the right move in having wireless charging. That also means, though, that it will not be metal this time around, and it looks like it will go glass, just as the G6 did. Let me know what you guys think about this. Do you guys like the idea of all smartphones moving to glass with wireless charging? Or do you miss the days of metal phones more being prevalent? Let me know what you guys think. All right. Now let's get to the comment section. Again, if you're watching this live, just ask your questions in the comment section down below, and I will answer them before the end of the show. Okay. Hello, sir. Greens from London. I'm a new subscriber. Hello. Thank you for subscribing, and thank you for checking us out all the way from London. I Still will say London was one of my favorite breakfast places when I was over there last year for my honeymoon with my wife. It was just awesome food, really good, and yes, I missed that over there. I feel like I want to try to find a pub, but my friend who's from London basically has told me like, nah, it's not the same. It's not the same, and I'm like, all right, all right. All right. Do you think it is legit the Note 8 fingerprint reader is going to be a setup similar to the S8, or someone just trying to get some attention? No, we've had 3 confirmation from 3 separate sources pointing towards, yes, the fingerprint scanner will be on the back of the Note 8. That's it. That is where it's going to be. Samsung couldn't do it. They just couldn't do it on the front, and I think that will be a miss for them. When will Bixby Voice be standard on new phones? Standard, I'm thinking you meant. Standard on new phone S8 and up. Bixby will probably be on all flagships. I think maybe by the end of next year or beginning of next year, you're going to start to see Bixby go to other devices. But I really don't know which devices they would. I would say it would go to the A series, but that's only in China, really. I don't know if it would go to the J series, which is more of an entry-level series. I would see it going more to the A series, but I do not know about lower-level models. From what you know now, do you think Nintendo will go the way of Sega Genesis? I don't feel the same buzz as with the Wii. Well, here's the thing. Nintendo Switch is currently the top-selling gaming console right now, still. So, I mean, it's still the top-selling console over the PS4 and the Xbox. Currently, month over month, it is still the top-selling one. Will that run out? Yeah, probably eventually. But I mean, if you think about it, Mario Odyssey got pretty much the most buzz out of almost every game at E3. It was pretty much on everyone's top 5 list of games for E3, or like the most excited E3 game. For me, I think it was my second or third one. For me, Spider-Man took it away from me, though. I cannot wait for that game. It's like everything I've wanted in a Spider-Man game. So, personally, I think Nintendo is going to keep going on a steady slope. But I mean, that Super Nintendo Classic is going to sell. That'll be the main definite selling thing for this holiday season. It's going to be the top holiday selling thing, basically. Like, you know, Frigidaires were the toy of the beginning of 2017. It's gonna close with Super Nintendo Classic. Nintendo is going to sell millions of those. So I don't know. I don't think it's gonna go the way of Sega Genesis. But I don't know what's gonna happen. I think they are making the right moves and starting to go to mobile gaming. Something that I long believe Sony should have done, and I'm still going to do a tech rant about that. Sony is losing the chance of making millions right now, and it's so silly. They have the perfect opportunity to really get in the mobile game, and they're doing it the wrong way. They're not making a profit, and they really need to. Apple's doing AR big time, good or bad? It's different technology. Right now, no one is doing AR to the intensity Apple is. Google is the forerunner right now. I mean, Google Project Tango is still far above what Apple's AR demonstration could do. And don't get me wrong, it's not that Apple's demonstration wasn't impressive, but Google is the top runner right now. Hardware by Lenovo is mostly paired with it, and Asus. But Google is the top runner right now, along with Microsoft HoloLens. I mean, HoloLens is a big platform right now. It's a more expensive platform, so it's curious. You see the top 3 in it, right? You see the top 3. You see Google, you see Apple, and you see Microsoft in this. But Google and Microsoft have been doing it for a longer period of time now. Google was first, and then Microsoft followed with HoloLens, and now Apple's entering the market. it's a curious notion, but I don't know if we're ever gonna have something. It needs to be something just simple, like Pokemon Go was. Pokemon Go was a real first introduction to AR for most people. They never knew what augmented reality was for most people. Yet, I mean, I have seen a long time now augmented reality apps like for photos, right? So, you know, you want a plane to crash right in front of you in your video, you can put that in with special effects. You want flames, you want fireworks, all this is available with AR technology, but it's just a matter of getting it as real as we are now seeing with Apple and HoloLens and Project Tango, that you're really getting the details and the color reproduction and the lighting and the smoke and the effects, that it looks like it's there. So those are the main things about it. Can I submit photos from a DSLR? I don't know, Alex. I feel like that's. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's obvious that those are going to be better, right? But I would rather see them from a camera. Yeah, I would rather see them from a smartphone just to celebrate mobile and stuff like that. Send it. I'll consider it. I will consider it. How about that? I will consider it. But obviously, SLRs are going to be able to shoot amazing quality photos. You know, I'm sure you're going to shoot it in RAW and edit it and all that kind of stuff. So it's, but I will consider it. I will consider it. Whoa, a couple of things loaded real quick. If Samsung asks you for your opinion on the Note 8, ask it stands. What they say would you change about it now? If they would ask me on my opinion about it, I would say 6 gigs of RAM should be the minimum. I would push them to go for 8, to be honest, especially if they're trying to raise the price point to 900 to 1,000. If that's going to be the price range, we deserve more RAM. I would say we deserve more RAM. OnePlus 5, although it is a more expensive phone than quite frankly it should be, they have 8 gigs of RAM, so why can't Samsung? Especially when Samsung makes the damn RAM. So I would push them for 6 to 8, quite frankly. OnePlus 5 did, even though I'm not a big fan of those tests, if you do watch Phone Buff, his speed test, you know, Apple has never lost his speed test because Apple always saves everything in a different way than Android does. And because of that, Android has to have so much more RAM just to save it on the same way that Apple does. So Apple always wins those tests. However, the OnePlus 5 did beat Apple pretty handedly, actually. So it was faster performance. So yeah, that's the RAM would be one thing. What would I say other than that? I think we need more customization for the home screen. Because still to this day, I always put Nova Launcher on my phone because Samsung's UI just isn't as good. And push the boundaries of battery life. You know, you really need to make a thicker phone with a bigger battery. That's it. Make a thicker phone with a bigger battery. If there was one thing that I would let Samsung know, that, you know, it's okay to make a thicker phone with a longer lasting battery. That is probably the number one thing that I would hope they would take away. And that's the number one thing I would hope they listen to. Put a 4,000 milliamp battery in there. Make it, you know, 0.5 millimeters thicker. You have the top selling phone of the year. Do you think the iPhone 8X edition will have an A10X or possibly A11? It'll have an A11. It'll have an A11. Yeah, it'll have an A11. Have you ever met Everything Apple Pro Guy? No, I have not. I have seen a lot. I've seen more of his articles than videos. I have seen some of the well, no, that's not true. Sorry, I'm mixing up with another person. No, yeah, I've seen his videos and some of the things, especially like with a lot of the new iOS hidden feature stuff. I have seen his stuff, but I have not seen it basically I have not met him at like CES or the other venues that I go to. The Note 8 is even taller than the S8, so the fingerprint scanner is higher up and harder to reach. I'm disappointed in Samsung. I'll get the iPhone 8 instead. I think that's going to be a feature that some people, again, we're really looking forward to, so I understand that. Smaller sensor, boo. That's what I want, Samsung. Noisy photos. I think the zoom lens will be 2.8 aperture, and the regular will have 1.7. Alex, according to that picture, again, it was 2.0 and 2.0 aperture for both lenses. So again, which would be much lower than the 1.7 we currently have. So yeah, I really hope that we get a 1.7, and yeah, because that's just not cutting it. If it comes time for the S9, iPhone is screwed. I think Apple will not have it on, it will be on the power button. Really? You still think it'll be on the power button? Unless they get some preferential treatment from Qualcomm. They will not be using Qualcomm's technology, but again, Qualcomm is the newest player in the game for fingerprint scanning screen. There's about three companies that can do this technology. However, both of them, one each is working with Samsung and the other one's working with Apple. The question has never been, can it be done? The question is the yield gonna be good enough for it? But with the iPhone edition, the iPhone X, the iPhone 8, they do not plan on selling as many in Q4, meaning that Apple knows that there is going to be a shortage with this phone. They expect it to be sold out till December. You have to understand that if you do not get this phone day one, you will not get it till December. So please know that, guys. It all matters with timing this time around. If you do not get it the first day, you will not get it till December. I still have the S6 Edge Plus. I've had it for a year and a half. What do you think would be an appropriate upgrade? The S8 Plus would definitely be an appropriate upgrade, unless you want to wait for the Note. But the S8 Plus would be a really great upgrade. Huge upgrade in the camera quality from the S6 Plus, and definitely an upgrade in the battery life. I'm getting the Note 8 regardless of all the Note 8 mainstream drama. Hey, there's drama, but I'm right there with you. I mean, I'm going to get a Note 8. I'm going to get the Note 8. I'm not going to get a Note. Hi, Ricky. Can I make a prediction? The new iPhone fingerprint scanner will be so slow people won't like it. That is an interesting concept. I mean, we do not know how good it's going to work. We do not know that. And although you can say it's Apple, it's going to work perfectly, that's Steve Jobs' Apple. That's Steve Jobs' Apple, where he tested it and did not do anything till it was perfect. That isn't today's Apple. Today's Apple does not test things till they're perfect and meticulous, as Steve Jobs' Apple did. Oh. Sorry, a couple questions later. Hi, Ricky. What would it take for removable batteries to make a comeback? Honestly, I don't think there could be anything to make removable batteries come back in. I think what we might see more so is something along the lines of what Motorola is doing with modular attachments. So you can attach a phone with a bigger battery, but yet you can just get a Mophie case and do that. But I do not believe that anything is going to bring back removable batteries. And unfortunately, at this point, it's not necessary. It's like laptops have gone through this. If you remember a time 10 years ago, laptops were always, you can remove the battery. Any laptop nowadays, that battery is sealed. You cannot touch it. And more of the laptop, honestly, is being non-removable. So yeah, no, I don't see that honestly ever happening again. It's just one of those things that they don't see it as necessary. There's no point in making it. From a business standpoint, there's no necessity to make it removable battery. I wish there was. Oh, sorry. HP has a patent on fingerprint scanner on the power button on the side. That's why Sony XZ phones aren't allowed to have the fingerprint sold in the U.S. Apple will definitely have it in the display. That's a good point, Josh. So he's saying that HP has a patent on it. That's why Sony can't do it in the U.S. However, if there's one person that always gets around legal stuff in the U.S., it is Apple. You have to remember, it was what? God, how long has Trump been in office now? I think it was 3 years ago. Samsung was going to ban iPhones because they violated a patent and Samsung won it in court. This ban would have made it so that Apple phones could not be sold. So it would have stopped all sales of iPhone 5S was, I think, out at the time. It was 5S and I want to say 6 and older. The 6S was out, but it would only implement the 5S and the 6, and they could no longer be sold at all in the U.S. And it was literally done. The appeals court already went through it. Like it was done. They lost that court. But what happened was Tim Cook talked to the president at the time, President Obama, and Obama overturned it. If there is one company that is very protected in the U.S., it is Apple. Simply because of all the money that they are influenced in the U.S. economy. So if there's one company that's protected from anyone court-wise, it is Apple. Get the OnePlus 5, 8 gigs of RAM phone, or wait for the Note 8. I also want an iPad. Which one do you think of the new ones? I have an old 9.7 iPad. I would get the iPad 9.7 Pro. I feel that the new current gen iPad 9.7 inch would not be that much of an upgrade for you, to be honest, because it has some improved software, but the screen is actually a worse quality than your current iPad. So the iPad Pro 9.7 would probably be my recommendation if you want to stick with an iPad. I wish there was more Android competition in the US like in other countries. Yeah, I mean, the two big players in Android are actually Xiaomi and Huawei. Most people think LG is number 2 around the world. LG, I want to say, is number 5 around the world in terms of top smartphone sellers. It goes Samsung, Apple, and then right below Apple is Huawei, which is going to pass Apple in the next probably 2 years. Huawei, they're the number 1 seller in China, and then followed by them in China is Xiaomi, which is like the Apple of China. All premium quality materials, all aluminum. They use aluminum as much as Apple does, and they honestly replicate a lot of Apple stuff in terms of how software looks and all that kind of stuff. They're very much prevalent to that kind of look. So yeah, and then is LG, if I'm not mistaken. So I believe LG is still number 5. But LG is number 5, when most people in the US think, oh, it goes Samsung, LG. No, around the world, LG is a smaller player. Samsung is and again, in the US, of course, it's Apple, then Samsung, but flipped around the world, it's Samsung, then Apple. And just because Apple's not as global as they are in the US is their stronghold, it's their stronghold. But globally, Samsung far outsells Apple almost in every country, namely because Apple isn't in many countries besides the US and besides Europe, and not even every part of Europe. But it's really that Samsung is the top seller around the world. Apple is gaining market share in places like China. They just entered 2 years ago where there was never iPhone sold legally. Normally in China 2 years ago, and that just started. So again, it's a difference wise, but those are going to be a lot of the differences coming around. Ricky, will BlackBerry ever come back? They were once the iPhone of today. I don't think so. I don't think BlackBerry can ever make a full comeback, and especially they're just not making their own hardware anymore. They're only making software. So no, I do not believe BlackBerry can make a comeback. Hey Ricky, never missed the stream. Thanks, Mark. Is it possible to get a dual SIM LG G6 or an S8 Plus to kind of work on Verizon? Yeah, actually, the S8 Plus that is sold dual SIM at Best Buy does work on Verizon. So yes, you can. It is WCDMA compatible, so it will work on Verizon. I do not know about the G6 off the top of my head. I would have to look into that. But the S8 Plus that Best Buy sells will work on Verizon. Ricky, will Android and iOS ever become like BlackBerry future predictions? Do you mean like obsolete? It's a possibility. You have to remember, over 10 years ago, these companies didn't exist. I mean, Android is going to turn 10 years old next year. iPhone just turned 10 years old this year. These companies were not around over 10 years ago. In terms of operating system, I mean. In terms of operating system. So could we see something new come out? It's a possibility. But there are companies that once they have this path, they're set. The main computer company in the world is still Windows. Over 80% of computers sold are Windows operating system. Apple has 15%, and I think Chrome is up to 10%. Chrome is up to 5%, and Apple's at 15%, if I'm not mistaken. This was the last time I checked. It could be updated from now. But those were the figures that you were looking at. So completely, lopsided and has not changed since Microsoft has had domination. They've never been close to losing domination. Apple made a comeback, with their MacBooks, and MacBooks are a strong percentage now. Strong in terms of like they're not losing that 15-10% anytime soon. But I don't ever see Apple being even 25% of the market share of computers. I don't. It's just Windows is too dominating. What was it? Oh, Sega Genesis Classic is what I want. Sega Genesis Classic is coming out this year, and I've already talked to them, Alex, and it looks like they will send it to me. So it looks like I will get a review unit when it comes out. Sega Genesis Classic is coming out this fall. So it is coming out. It comes with a controller, and it comes with some prevalent games. I will give you guys more details as they give it to me, but I can tell you they've already contacted me, and we have submitted for a review unit. So hopefully we'll get it out when it comes out this fall. It's coming out this fall though, along with Atari too. Atari, Sega Genesis, and Super Nintendo Classics will all be coming out this fall. So yes, we're going to see the Sega versus Nintendo wars come up again. Which one are you going to get? Which one are you going to side with, guys? If you can only get one, is it going to be Nintendo or Sega Genesis? Let me know in the comment section down below. I meant to say go the way of the Dreamcast. Oh, go the way of the Dreamcast? I don't think so. I mean, again, the Switch is not nowhere near as big as the Wii, but the Switch is already way bigger than the Wii U ever was. So, I don't think so. But we'll see. Hi from Reno, Nevada. My Gear S3 loses connection to my S8 Plus from 8 to 10 feet away. How can I fix this? I've actually noticed a lot of issues with the Gear S3 and the S8 as well. I don't know what the issue is. I'm not sure if it's an S8 software issue with the Gear S3. The funny thing is, I switched to the Gear S2 because I had to ship my review unit back for the Gear S3, and I gave my brother my other one. So since I have the Gear S2, I haven't had the same issue. So I think it's a specific issue with the Gear S3 and the S8. Why? I have no idea, but it's definitely an issue that I've had since those two. And again, it's not with the Gear S2, so it's a specific issue with the Gear S3. I just can't wait till the Gear S4 comes out in 2 months. Ricky, what maintenance on the S8 Plus do you recommend? Restarting the phone, clearing cache, running scans, etc. If you have the Samsung Smart Manager, I do recommend using it once a week, and I do recommend you restarting your phone once a week. These are two standard things that will help you out. Obviously, make sure to check out my video on how to speed up your S8 and how to save battery life, getting rid of a lot of that bloatware and fine-tuning things, getting rid of advanced features, getting rid of Bluetooth scanning. All those things will help your phone run much faster. As people have started saying that their S8 is lagging, mine doesn't. What did you say about the Note 8 isn't going to have a better battery than the S8 Plus? Yes, I did cover that on the breaking news segment. From what we've heard, right now the current rumors going around, and we have two separate sources on the battery, is that it's going to be a 3,300 milliamp battery instead of a 3,500 milliamp battery, which means it will have a smaller battery than the S8 Plus. It will not have a newer processor, so software improvements aside, it's looking like it will have at best the same battery life as the S8 Plus, which in my opinion is just unacceptable, and Samsung needs to improve it. Again, they need to make the phone thicker if need be, but we need a bigger battery. We cannot have a smaller battery if this is supposed to be the best of the best phone, which the Note series has always touted. You can't make a smaller battery than the S8 Plus. Sorry, did you already talk about the Note 8? Yes, the Note 8 confirmation that we talked about earlier in the show is, I can't bring up the picture again, check it later, but that it will have two cameras. The sensor for the fingerprint and the flash will be moved on this side to give more of a separation, but the fingerprint scanner will be on the back. We do have a breaking news video that was posted earlier this week that goes over the exact image of how the Note 8 is going to look, so you can see the exact look on the back. But it's going to have fingerprint sensor, flash and heartbeat scanner, and then two cameras. I don't understand why companies want their phones to be, why companies want their phones to be so thin. It's a status thing, you know. Quite frankly, the phones don't need to be that thin. We all put cases on our phones. I mean, you know, on all these phones, we put cases on them. And that's what we do. So we already make them thicker ourselves, but again, it's what they think we want, so they do it. We don't necessarily need a thinner one. The iPhone X will be a collector's edition someday, like the original iPhone. I think so. I think out of all the iPhones since the original, the iPhone X will be the most prevalent, like, one-time kind of phone. Samsung's big changer was, right, the S3, the original Note, and then the Note Edge. The Note Edge was a $1,000 phone that didn't sell as much. It didn't. I want to say it maybe sold 1 million at the most. So it really didn't sell that many phones. Compared to a regular Note, sells anywhere from 5 million to 20 million. A regular S series tends to sell anywhere from 30 million to 50 million. So these are much bigger numbers compared to 1 million. So yeah, the iPhone X really is going to be a phone that they're probably only going to make 5 million at the most, I think, this year. And I think at the most, I think, again, it's because that fingerprint scanner on the screen is going to cause such a delay that, again, if you do not get it day one, you're going to be waiting until December. I guarantee you that. All right. I rarely use the fingerprint scanner on the S8 Plus because the iris scanner works so well. I agree, actually. I use my iris scanner most of the time. Thicker phone with a bigger battery is and the biggest cell phone camera sensor, my dream phone. I know, right, Alex? I completely agree. I would rather have a bigger phone. Just give me the battery and the sensor on the camera to justify that bigger phone. You have a sale. You have a sale there, guys. Ricky, maybe the 2 times processing will make up for the difference in sensor. 2 times processing, hopefully, but it's still, again, you can only do so much. The sensor is what's capturing the image. Even with the faster processing, it's not going to live up to a sensor and an aperture. Those are going to be more important than the image processor. Not to say the image processor isn't important, but the sensor and the aperture is a huge thing, especially for low light photography. Watching this on my Galaxy S8 Plus, I'm still getting the Note 8 with the fingerprint sensor on the back. Yeah, I'm still getting it too. Let's see. I'm still skeptical about the S8 screen ratio. It's actually funny because that is one of the reasons why I changed the way I film. If you notice on all my videos now, I leave a good portion above me, just so if you're watching it on an S8 Plus or S8 or a LG G6, you can actually see me without cutting my head off. So that's why I leave some space up at the top now. Do you think that Gear S4 will have a separate conference? No, the Gear S4 will be at the same conference. They've had it at the conference every year. Every time a Note is announced, the watch is announced in the same time frame. I still have my Sony Vaio with removable battery. Oh shit, that's crazy. That's why I'm not upgrading. I understand. Hey Ricky, I don't get wireless charging. It's slower. It's not as efficient. What's the appeal? So here's the appeal about wireless charging. In a short way, because there is a long explanation of this, the benefit of wireless charging is your battery doesn't go bad. Your battery has a cycle count, and when you charge overnight, you're damaging it every single time. It does what's called trickle charging. It basically goes to 70%, 80%, 90%, goes up and down, up and down. Basically, when charging it overnight, not only is trickle charging trying to prevent you from damaging your battery and not doing as good of a job, but mainly you're causing heating to happen. When heat happens, it drains the cycle count quicker. So what you end up doing is you end up screwing over your battery life, and it goes to 60. It goes basically to the point where, not 60, if it goes to the point basically where after half a year or a year, your battery life sucks compared to what it used to. It always does. On every smartphone you've owned, your battery life is not as good 6 months later, a year later, a year and a half later. And this technology does not change. Wireless charging has far less voltage and amperage, so you can leave it charging overnight and not damage it. That's the benefit of wireless charging. Besides, another benefit, of course, is obvious. It's just you drop it down, you're never going to break a cable, right? I mean, how many times have you broken a lightning cable or micro USB cable or now Type-C cable? And it's just because, I mean, let's face it, the micro USB cables and Type-C and lightning cables that come with your phones are cheap as hell. They are made to break. So that's the whole thing. Apple does whatever they want. Remember, they told the feds to F off. Yeah. I have an S8 Plus. I can't justify paying $1,000 for a Note 8. For most part, it's the same phone besides the Note S Pen. I think it will have some differences. We don't know what those differences are yet, but we'll have to wait and see them. You're right about Apple getting favoritism in America, because I remember Obama making fun of Samsung's battery fires. Yeah. I'm getting the Note 8. Miss my SNES or S Note. I'm not sure what that is, but since my Note 7, since you gave your Note 7 back, maybe S Pen is what you meant. Will the Note 8 have speakers? The Note 8 will have a speaker. We do not know if it will have stereo speakers anymore. In none of the latest renders have we seen stereo speakers, but to be fair, we have not seen the top of the Note 8 in almost any leak yet. So that would be the second speaker. There is for sure a speaker on the bottom of the Note 8, but we do not know if there is a speaker on the top to have stereo. Is the iPhone 7s coming out? Yes, the iPhone 7s is coming out. The iPhone 7s and 7s Plus are still coming out this year. Hi, Ricky. What is your opinion on cable TV service being cannibalized by T-Mobile, Verizon, or AT&T? Do you think it's a possibility that cable companies will be forced to lower their prices? I think it's more so going to be the cord cutters. You know, I myself am not a cord cutter yet. I possibly might be. But here's the thing. The whole thing behind cord cutting, right? It's to pay cheaper prices so you're not dealing with this BS of contracts and like, oh, you're going to get this price for 6 months or for a year and then 2 years. And then they screw you over on pricing. Cable companies are criminally charging too much. And I don't know if this is, I feel like this is not happening anymore. I haven't followed it anymore in the tech legality. But because of, it really was like set by the FCC. But again, the FCC is way different from what it was 2 years ago. The FCC did implement a plan that within 5 years, cable companies would no longer have cable boxes. They would have to make apps that would replace the cable box. This would save consumers, you know, $5 to $20 or however many boxes you have in your house a month. So you're talking about, you know, $5 to $20 a month times 12. You're talking about $60 to what? To $240 a year. So I don't think that's right, but whatever. So basically, it's a lot of money, right? That it would save consumers. That was going to be implemented again within 5 years. So it was supposed to be implemented, I want to say now within 3 years. I don't know if that's going to happen anymore because of all the changes of the FCC. So I do not know if that will happen anymore. But that was in the game plan to kind of make cable companies at least give us a little bit more instead of screwing us over like they have been. And it was kind of like, you know, the whole digital TV. It's something that people are just going to have to change. This was going to be a change that you either have to have a smart TV or you have to have a Roku or a Chromecast or something along those lines to watch your own TV for your cable provider. Nintendo 64 was my favorite. GoldenEye, man. Perfect Dark and Mario Kart 64, of course. I will just get gaming computer and get all the ROMs. Good job, Alex. Actually, one of my things I'm looking forward to the most, my wife and I agreed that when we buy a house, right now currently I live in an apartment, when we buy a house, that I get to get a full arcade machine. It will be customized, it will be awesome, it'll have every cool old arcade game, as well as I'm going to put Super Nintendo games and all that kind of stuff. I get a fully customized arcade machine. I cannot wait for that. And yeah, I'll do a review when I get it, of course, and everything like that. But I get to get that as my reward. Like, I get to spend on that when I get her a house. I have to get her a house first. Need to get her a house right away. No. What is your internet provider? They know Jack boosted my MBS from 30 to 75. Least 5 gadgets use Wi-Fi. Home PC, no, the runaround, no guaranteed strength of Wi-Fi. I get. Well, I don't use, so I never really recommend using the internet provider's router. If you have to, because it's like fiber optic or something along those lines, then you have to. I mean, it is what it is. But I don't use their routers ever. There are far better routers. I do use the TP-Link mesh router system, Deco, which is amazing. I mean, I love it. So I really, really love this system. I have internet completely everywhere in my house, and I have over, I am supposed to get 70 megabits up and down, and I get over 50 in every part of my house now. So amazing internet speed for me. I do have Frontier Fios. Used to have Verizon Fios. Frontier bought them out in California, so I have Frontier Fios now. A lot of issues in the beginning, but they have ironed out, I would say, most of the kinks now. But oh my god, for a year, oh, it was horrible. I always preferred Sega back in the day. Blast from Bass, great channel, thank you. Ricky, will YouTube ever become subscription based, meaning it won't be free anymore. They were also issues with advertisers and also introducing YouTube Red. I was just curious. I don't think YouTube will ever be paid for only because it's not YouTube's model. Why? Because Google gets paid off of advertising. Google's entire revenue stream is from advertising. So they will always be a first and foremost service such as that. Now, they want to compete with cable companies and get cable cord cutters in with them. So what they're doing is making YouTube TV. And I think YouTube TV has a lot of strong things. It just doesn't have channels right now. It has the least amount of channels out of all the providers. So once it gets channels, I think it'll be a consideration. Currently, right now, I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, but the best cord cutting options are PlayStation Vue is the best current cord cutting option for all around, and you get the most out of it. DirecTV now has the most channels. So those are the two options you would decide on. But PlayStation Vue has, the DVR, just every feature you would want in a cord cutting service. But DirecTV now has the most channels. So those are the main two right now. iPhone X camera hump is ugly. Yeah, I don't think it's the best looking, but I mean, if you remember the camera humps of old, we've had camera humps before. I think it'll go smaller because remember, after the iPhone X, they're not going to have big changes for the next 2 years. They're going to have similar looking phones, and then they're going to make a big change after 2 years. Remember, Apple is switching from a 2-year plan to a 3-year plan, meaning big change, small change, small change, as opposed to before, which was big change, small change, big change. They are now doing big change, small change, small change. That's why the iPhone 7 looks a lot like the iPhone 6S. SA Plus is awesome, yeah. Which phone do you think will give iPhone 8 the biggest competition, Note 8 or Pixel XL2? Note 8, honestly. I think Pixel XL2, we don't know anything about it right now. So to be fair, we don't know much about it, but I think Pixel XL is going to have a rude awakening. To be honest, I think a lot of its sales came from Note returners, and I don't think it's going to sell as much this year. I think this is what's going to happen. The Pixel XL was not prepared for the amount of sales they were going to have. Why? Because the Note was going to be around. So the Pixel XL was hard to get for over a year. So now they told these companies, whoever's making the Pixel phones, we need you to crank out phones because we need them. There's demand for it and everything like that. And then the Note's going to be out. And then people are going to get the Note. And then the Pixel is not going to sell as much. That is honestly what I believe will happen. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. But if you're asking me what I think is going to happen, I think the Pixel is going to have a rude awakening that a lot of its success came from the Note's failure last year. I would prefer for Apple to put a fingerprint scanner on the Apple logo or the power button. It doesn't look like that's going to be an option, to be honest, but we'll see. Ricky, $1,000 for a phone is ridiculous. A lot of money. Most people in the world are poor, not rich. Phones should be cheaper. Absolutely. Phones, again, break down to a lot of different prices, and that's why I like to review phones that are $200, like the Honor 6X that's under a $200 price point, or the Huawei P10 that's an amazing budget phone around $450 to $500, or the OnePlus that's closer to $500, or the Moto E. All these different price phones, you really have to take a look at all of them. And just because a phone is more expensive, it doesn't mean you need to get it. It just means whatever phone's good for you. And maybe you buy a phone that's $800 or something along those lines, but then you keep it for 2 years. You don't have to buy a new phone every year. So, I mean, it's all about budgeting. It's all about choosing what you need, not always what you want, which is hard by today's standards. Do you think U.S. carriers, I'm with Verizon, will give us any type of deal or discount if we had a Note 7 and want us to upgrade to a Note 8? Keep the good work, Ricky. Thank you. No. I do not think that they will give you a discount, specifically if you had a Note 7. I do believe Samsung is going to give discounts, though. Whether it be a free VR, or free Gear 360, or whatever free thing they're giving out, or $100 off, or $200 trade-in. They're going to give stuff. I don't know what though. What do you know about the Samsung flip phone? I'm assuming you're talking about the W series, which is a smartphone flip phone. I can tell you that both my brother and my editor both love those phones. They have thought, man, that's fucking badass, you know? It is a really cool looking phone. If you ever look up the W series flip phone from Samsung, they are actually pretty bad looking. Like, if you would just be like, what do you have a flip phone? What is that? They have, like, you know, legit Android on both of them, and last year's model had Note 7 specs, so these aren't like, you know, little wonky phones. They actually can hang with the best of them. But yeah, I've never reviewed them, so yeah. This is why people get hacked cable boxes. Not that I condone that kind of behavior. This is also why people use Kodi. When 5G comes, will everyone technically be a cable cutter? 5G is gonna impact a lot of things. Cable companies do not like the idea of 5G. It's gonna be really interesting. It's gonna be really interesting. My friend builds arcade machines. He has a computer shop. Alex, send you know, let him know that I'm looking. I'm going to get an arcade machine. I can expose his shop. I can, you know, do advertising for him if with a discount or something like that. Let me know, man. You're one of my favorite viewers. You watch every week, so hey, if we can make something happen, that would be great. Ricky, do you really think the S7 and S7 Plus will sell? Everyone wants the Apple with the 8, which will be a problem. I'd estimate April or May when you can meet the demand of the 8. Here's the thing. The price point is real. The price point is a real thing. I mean, I know people are willing to spend money, but you have to understand that you're talking about over $1,000 for a phone that you could get for $700, $650 last year. People do not have that kind of money to just really buy it. So it will sell a lot. It will sell a lot. And you might be right. Maybe we have that much of a deficit that it really is pushed that far back. And, you know, but Apple is still projecting to sell more S7s and more S7s Pluses compared to the iPhone 8. That is what they're projecting. Could they be wrong? Absolutely, they could be wrong. But price point is a thing that is very real. What will the different... What will be different with the Gear S4? I don't know anyone else Samsung can top to the Gear S3. In my opinion, is Samsung far ahead of the smartwatch game. It still needs more apps. Samsung needs more apps. I would honestly, I know it might never happen, but I would honestly love to see some Google apps on the watch. That would be... If you can just give us some Google apps, even Google Maps and Google Voice Assistant, which they're not going to do because the Gear S4 will be the introduction of Bixby on a smartwatch. But that would be awesome. That would be so awesome. And they need to make a smaller version and a bigger version. Make one watch the size of a Gear S2 and one watch the size of a Gear S3, and you print money, Samsung. I get a gig download and upload speed with AT&T Fiber. Damn, that is fast. What is the best virus protection for a phone? I honestly don't believe in virus protection for a phone. One of my most popular videos to this day was you cannot get viruses on Android. It is a lot of BS most of the time. 99.97% of all viruses come from outside of the Google Play Store. So if you are doing stuff like Kodi, if you are doing stuff like getting illegal APKs, if you are doing stuff like going to FrostWire, if you are doing stuff like going to certain websites that don't have clothing, this is how you get viruses on Android. It's the same thing as a PC. And it's not, one thing that I always tell people, iOS is not more secure. Mac OS is not more secure. This is why, the reason why Android and Windows get more viruses than Mac or iPhones do is because it's just very simple. If you're a hacker, are you going to go for 80% of smartphones out there, or are you going to go for 20% of smartphones out there? Because that's what you're dealing with when it comes to iOS versus Android. That's also what you're dealing with when it comes to Windows versus Mac. They're both based on Unix. They are very easy to hack. It's a few different lines of code in order to make a virus for an iPhone and make a virus for an Android. It's a few different lines of code. There's not really that much of a difference. The only difference is, and they're going to patch just as quickly as each other. The only difference is just simple. That the main difference between them is that Android has way more users, so that's why there's more viruses for Android. Windows has more users, that's why there's more than. The whole thing of them saying that they're safer is complete BS. Complete BS. Apple's never been safer. The reason why they claim they don't get viruses is because they don't have as many users. That's why. In your opinion, will the iPhone X be the best-selling iPhone of all time? No, because they don't have the amount to sell. That's the honest answer. The iPhone X will not be the best selling iPhone of all time, and Apple won't release that information. If you have noticed, Apple's not released even their weekend numbers anymore, just because of the fact that last iPhone didn't sell as much as the iPhone beforehand, and they knew it wasn't going to. That's why they didn't sell. That's why they didn't say it for the opening weekend. I'm not saying for the quarter they didn't sell more. The quarter they actually did sell more, but for the opening weekend they did not sell as many, so they announced that they weren't going to announce the numbers. If you remember before, Apple would say, we sold 5 million iPhones over the weekend, we sold 10 million iPhones over the weekend, we sold 7 million iPhones over the weekend. They did not do that with the 7 because they knew it was not going to sell as much. Now, the iPhone X might sell, but again, it is not going to be the top-selling iPhone, and that's why Apple stopped saying how many they sold. You notice that's why they never announced how many Apple Watches they've sold, because they're not telling they never announced numbers that would negatively affect their stock, so they bunch it in. And quite frankly, I think that should be illegal. You should have a clear cut of how many products are being sold in plain black and white. As a company, and I'm talking about for every company. Samsung should say how many S7s versus S7 Edges sold. Should say how many S8 versus S8 Pluses sold. All this should be public in my opinion, but these are little tricks they do to hide things from stockholders. Dude, I can't believe you read every single question. You're amazing. Thank you. Oh, of course. Yeah, I do. Ricky, do you think the V30 will be able to compete with the Note 8 and iPhone? The V30 needs something pretty magical, man. For a while, we were going to get a second screen. It looks like that second screen is canceled now because they wanted to work with Google Daydream, and Daydream was having too many issues with the second screen. So I don't know. I don't know. It looks like the V30 might just be a bigger version of the G6, and I don't know how that'll work out. Which arcade machine will you get? I will get a custom arcade machine. The arcade machine I was looking into, let me tell you. Boom. Dream Machine. Boom. Whoop. I was showing you guys the chat. I guess I'll have to change that real quick. It is not showing it. Sorry guys, little technical difficulties here. Screen capture. Alright. This was the current machine I was looking at. It is a 32-inch arcade machine that basically, so 32-inch display. I would like a 40-inch display if possible, but I found that 32 is pretty much the most you can get with an enclosed cabinet. I would pay more for 40. But basically, a good amount of controller setup. You can see you can play it with all the controllers. And this also allows for you to open the cabinet to put a PS3 or PS4 in there as well. So I really like that. Customized colors, good joystick knobs, and all that. I'm still debating when having a two-player controller versus a four-player controller. I kind of want to have the four-player controller to have the old X-Men and Simpsons games. If you play those in the arcade, you are really cool. So yeah, that's what I'm currently looking at. This one would be $900. But yeah, that's what I'm currently looking at. Also, this has custom software already for the arcade side. So all you have to do is put in the ROMs and that's it, which I like that. I like the software already being done. And then of course I would get like an LED TV, probably like a Samsung, to put in there. So yeah. All right. Ricky, without Steve Jobs and Apple being less innovative, what's next for Apple? Will they stand the test of time? I don't know, to be honest. Apple does not have the same wow factor. And I would have said, I honestly, and think about this, guys. Think about this. If the Note 7 had been a big hit and not a huge bomb, Samsung would be a serious contender for overtaking Apple, even more so in the US right now. If it had not had that issue last year, and the iPhone 7 was not as well received, remember, the iPhone 7, it's not that it was the best phone ever. It was just the fact that, oh, well, I want a big phone. The iPhone 7 Plus is the big one right now. Let's get that one. But if the Note 7 had been a big hit, a lot of iPhone users went to the Note 7. I cannot tell you how many people tried Samsung for the first time with the Note 7, unfortunately, that were iPhone users. It was a huge margin. And I'm talking about, like, 1 out of every 4 customers. So that's really big. That's really big. I think it would be a much different landscape now than if that would have happened. However, because that happened, I don't know. Samsung is the only company that can challenge Apple, really. Google can challenge it in other ways, but really when it comes to mobile operating systems and all of that stuff, it's Google and Samsung that would challenge Apple. If one of them can do something absolutely amazing, Apple could lose. It is a possibility that Apple could lose a step. Will they? I don't know. They do need more innovation, though. They really do need that. Apple's so powerful that people can trade their lives to have a new iPhone. Price tag means nothing if it's a new iPhone. I do believe that to a certain extent, and I do believe that people will make stupid decisions just to... people will not pay the rent to get the new iPhone. It is insane. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I can let them know. Talked about spec. Maybe it can be shipped. Alex, hit me up on my email, and I'll tell you a bit more. I think I want a smartwatch around the holidays. I got the S7 Edge. Soon it'll be the Note 8. What would be the best option? I have not reviewed an Android Wear watch. We're supposed to be getting the Huawei watch. I have not heard back from my contact from Huawei, but we're supposed to be reviewing the Huawei watch too, so I can check out Android Wear. But as of right now, the Gear series is probably your best bet. So the Gear S4, when it would come out, might be the best one. Won't YouTube TV cannibalize the content creators and itself? I watch TV or YouTube content. I will never get your type of show on TV, so I rather watch you guys. Well, here's the thing. YouTube TV is just the name. YouTube TV is not YouTube Red, right? YouTube Red is, the paid for content and all that kind of stuff. Honestly, I don't think that's doing that well. It's more so that YouTube is moving away from YouTube Red. It's including it, but YouTube is really pushing YouTube TV as just to get everyone on the same platform. Because if YouTube can create a platform where every video, whether it be TV, movies, or YouTube, is all in one place, that's what they want to do. They want to literally take everyone to one place to have everything. That's it. May want to consider something closer for the price of shipping. I understand, Alex. Don't get me wrong. I understand that shipping is going to be a lot for that kind of stuff. Why are you so convinced the new iPhone will be called the X? I just don't believe it's going to be called the 8. Now, I could be wrong on that. I have admitted, like, look, Apple, I mean, we haven't really seen too much to discredit that now. But Apple's never skipped a number. They've never skipped, and we are getting the iPhone 7S and 7S Plus here. So I just don't think it's going to be called the iPhone 8. I think it's going to be called the iPhone X or the Apple Edition phone or something along those lines. But I do not believe it will be called the iPhone 8. So I was the one who coined the phrase last year that next year will be the iPhone X. So I have stuck with that since then. I'm the one who originally said the iPhone X would be a thing because at the time they still had OS X and it just made sense that Apple's very Roman numeral-esque. So it would be fitting to name it that. Did you announce the giveaways for July yet? No, I did say at the beginning that that will be announced tomorrow night's video. So tomorrow night we will announce the winners for the June giveaway, and we will announce what we're going to be giving away for the month of July. It's going to be the Amazon Echo Show and 2 Bluetooth headphones. Opinion on unlocked Galaxy S8 Plus from Samsung. It's a good idea. Dang, I thought you would be getting Pac-Man or Galaga or damn. No, yeah, I want to have every game. I want to, if I have an arcade machine, I want to have every game. I want, when I have kids later on, even though they might think it's dated as all hell, I want to be like, yeah, this is what I had when I was young. And I would never go easy on my kids. Okay, maybe a little easy if they started crying. The new iPhones will be boring. iOS is boring. It's similar. It's always you have to give them credit for it. iOS 11 has made a lot of changes, especially with the iPad. You will be surprised what people will pay to get a phone. Meaning, some people will pay $1,000 for a phone instead of paying their rent car notes and say they have the newest phone. Oh, I know that. I do know that. 90% of phone customers will get a major carriers are Samsung or iPhone. Yes, 90% of phone customers are those two companies. Gyros 3 Frontier is an amazing watch. I also have the Gyros 2. What do you think has more cash flow, Samsung or Apple? Apple has more cash flow. Samsung has more assets. That's the difference. Samsung has far more assets than Apple. They have factories, they have buildings, they have all this kind of stuff. They have chip manufacturing companies. They make Apple's chips. Every single A processor is made by Samsung. Yes, TSMC makes some of them. Not many of them though. They're more in the 30% range. The majority of all Apple chips, screens, batteries, not cameras, RAM, and antennas are all from Samsung. Good time to do other tech videos because nothing exciting a little later. The iPhone, Pixel, V30, and Note. Yes, I cannot wait for that time. That's also when I get more views, of course. I have a Gear S3 Frontier. I still have my Gear S. My brother had a Gear S, but he did like the Gear S3 would be much better for battery life. I want to purchase an S8 or a Note 8. What's your opinion? Wait till the Note 8 is announced, and then I'll give you my opinion. Until it's finalized, I can't tell you. Please stop publishing the thing over and over again. What else? YouTube overload, don't you think? Yeah, YouTube is doing a lot, I would say. Can you do a tour video? I've thought about doing a tour video. I think I need to clean up a little bit, quite frankly. And I'm getting a lot of products in right now, so give me time. Give me time. I would need a solid month, and that's if things don't change. Right now, I'm in between my day-to-day jobs. I possibly might be moving on to a different company, and if I do that, I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks for training, so there's a whole thing going on there. So, yeah, a lot of stuff going on outside of YouTube for me. Are there any leaks on the S7 yet? Yeah, we saw a leak of the 7S from Apple 3 weeks ago, I say. It was the main, check our mobile weeklies, it was the main page if I'm not, no, what's the main page? It was not the main page, but it was one of the ones that had the iPhone on it. Let me see if I can tell you right now which episode it was. It was episode 159. 159 had a picture of the background of the iPhone 7s and 7s Plus. What's the best app for the S7 Edge? I would just say take a look at my best apps for the S8, and you can use those. Okay. Ricky, there are millions of YouTubers. Are you saying that ads pay for all of this? I don't think ads are what they used to be. Oh, ads pay for all of this. There are millions of YouTubers, but the percentage we make from YouTube is nothing compared to what Google makes. You have to realize, look at Google's revenue. Let's just take a look, right? We're going to take a look. We're going to take a look. All Google's revenue comes from ads. I want you to know that. All 5% of Google's revenue comes from ads. Google's revenue for 2016, this would be Alphabet's, right? 21 billion. 21 billion. That's how much money's in ads. That's how much money's in ads. Now you have to remember, Google is everywhere. Everyone uses Google Ads. Everyone uses Google Ads. I cannot tell you how much everyone uses Google Ads. Everyone uses Google Search. Everyone uses YouTube. Google owns the ad market online. And although advertisement for YouTube is still not as big as television, what about when all TV is on cord cutting? What happens then? The idea is that with YouTube TV, that Google can take the ads of TV away from TV. That's the idea of it. That they want to take the last bit of advertising that they don't own, which is TV advertising. They want to take that away, and they want to take it. So if they do that, 21 billion won't be anything compared to what they will make. You have a Green Lantern wedding ring. Does your wife have something similar? No, she has a legit wedding ring. A lot of people ask that. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people ask me that. Like, oh, what's your wife's wedding ring look like? A lot of people have asked that over time. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Official wedding photos. I don't know if I can find it quickly, unfortunately. Here we go. There you are. That's kind of wonky, but there you go. That's my wedding ring and my wife's wedding ring. A little bit. Actually, that's the engagement ring, but yes. Yeah, she has a legit one. Not that I'm saying I love my ring. I love my ring. But I'm just saying she has like a regular wedding ring, basically. Are you affected by the adpocalypse? Not to pry on your YouTuber's company, complain about it. I was not hit by adpocalypse as much. A lot of the ad stuff, yes, you know, you do not make as much as you used to, but that's always been true. The longer you've been on YouTube, the more money you made. It affected people that were around on YouTube longer than me, more than me itself. So I've been doing YouTube for 5 years. YouTube adpocalypse affected people that were around for 10 years on YouTube. Now, that being said, YouTube advertising, again, is all based on how many views you get. A lot of these companies are making decent money. But yeah, it just depends on the person and depends on how many sponsorships you get. A lot of these other companies get more sponsorships than me. I've not gotten any. I've not done sponsored videos. I've never done a sponsored video yet. So yeah. Ricky, I disagree about the sales of the Pixel phone, Chromecast, Android, Chromebooks are. They are a product company. They almost make hardly any money from all of those things. The whole reason they want you to use Chromecast is because you're using, again, their products. You're using their products. Yes, they have products, but they don't make much money off of Chromecast. Chromecast does not make them a lot of money. Same thing with Chromebooks. Chromebooks do not make them a lot of money, but you're using the Chrome browser, right? They're getting data, right? They're getting advertising revenue because everything they can track, they get advertising revenue from it. The whole thing about Google is they don't mind giving hardware to you for the most part because of the fact that that's why the Nexus series was inexpensive back in the day, because they just wanted you to get a phone. So again, you can use all of their services. That is the whole idea behind it. They are not a product company. Their products are tools to get you to use their services. That's what their products are. You want a clear case point? Motorola. They bought out Motorola for the hardware, right? So they would have a huge hardware division. No, they sold the hardware division within a year. They actually bought it for the software and all the patents because Apple was suing everyone at the time. If you remember when Apple was suing HTC, LG, Samsung, they were suing everyone. And Google was afraid of all their partners backing off and not making Android anymore because that was, again, a source of revenue for them. Every Google ad that comes up on your phone, every ad that comes up on your phone is a Google ad. It is. So, that being said, here's the big thing about that, right? They wanted to be like, okay, Apple, you're going to stop this lawsuit, patent stuff right now. Because they had patents on the cell phone itself. If Google wanted to, now the US government would never allow this, and neither would the EU and all the antitrust things, but if Google wanted to, they could make every single smartphone company stop selling phones. Because the Motorola patents that they still own, even though they sold Motorola's hardware, they still own all the software division and all the patents from Motorola. They could stop everyone from selling smartphones. They could stop everyone from selling smartphones. And they did that to shut Apple up with their patent wars. That's why the same Apple lawsuit that is going on with Samsung is still from the Galaxy S2. The reason there's never been a newer phone brought up on it is because of the fact that Google said to Apple, shut up and stop this. Because if you want to go to a patent war, we own the major patents. We own them now. And that's what happened. Little history for you that isn't talked about that much. Which mobile I have by... Wait, I don't understand what you mean. It's a big deal that Google will no longer read your emails for ad placement. Yeah, that is a big deal, I think so. Again, they were getting ad money from that. All the advertisement on the side of your Google on your Gmail was money. I finally caught one of your live show because I'm off to, for the holiday. Well, I'm glad you could join us. I watched you the day after because I'll be sleeping when the broadcasting is from South Carolina. Well, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you making it. Ricky, does Google make money from their search engine? There are no ads on there. Yes. Again, everything you search is collected in. Google does not care about... So here's the thing that is the often misconception of how Google takes your information. Google doesn't care about your information to spy on you. They could give a crap about what you do. What they care about is categorizing you. Oh, you're a male from 18 to 25 that lives in this city that searches for these things. Hey, advertiser, you want this focus group? You want your ad? You want to section in on this? The reason why Google makes so much money on advertising is because they can give an advertiser exactly what they want. They can pinpoint an age group. You want to advertise only to 18 to 25-year-olds? You got it. You want to you want to only go to males in New York? You got it. You want to only advertise to females in Los Angeles that are under the age of 30? You got it. Whatever you want, they can pinpoint. That is priceless, and that is what Google cares about. Google does not care about your information in terms of spying on you. They care about your information so that they can pinpoint it to advertisement. That's all they care about. Is your ring CGI? No, it's not. It's not animated either. Like that, Timothy. That's hilarious. Ricky, do you think Bixby will be as strong as Siri or Google Assistant? We know Rigsby will beat them all. That is true. Rigsby is way better than any of these little wannabe assistants right now. Bixby is interesting. I did not meet my deadline of trying to do, again, because of this stuff that I'm dealing with behind the scenes of my day-to-day job, that I might be changing jobs soon. Because of that, I'm not going to be able to do. I was not able to do the Q&A last week for viewers Q&A for Bixby, so I will be doing that this week. It'll probably come at the end of the week because I have some prior engagements. And shut up, Bixby, stop listening. So yeah. Did Apple put out the release date for the upcoming Apple Watch? No, there was no new announcement for an Apple Watch yet. Yeah, no, there wasn't any new announcement. Apple Watch Series 1 and Series 2 are still the main watches right now. That'll probably be announced in November if it's still sticking with the same timeline. Because usually November was the date for MacBooks, iPads, and watches, but now it just may be the watch. Please tell me about the Nokia 9. Is it really going to be a big thing? I have not heard too much about it. I know about the Nokia 6, but I've not heard too much about the Nokia 9. Ricky, I love your channel a lot. Thank you for sharing the grateful for unlimited data. Absolutely. Thank you for always watching. Google required 25,000 patents for Motorola. There you go. As I heard on Geekbench score for multiple core user higher than every other phone. Oh, on Nokia 9. Yeah, I haven't, again, I haven't done too much research on it, so I don't want to say like, oh yeah, it does this and this. I haven't done. Do you still keep up with Dragon Ball Z episodes? I have not watched Dragon Ball Z Super. Do not say any spoilers, because I do look at the comments after this. Do not say any spoilers. I'm going to do it in July. It comes out the English dub on Blu-ray. I'm going to see that as soon as it comes out. So this month I will see it. Astrology sign? Virgo? Do you think the Note 8 will sell more than the iPhone X? The Note 8 probably will sell more than the iPhone X this year due to inventory constraint. That's why, though. It's not to say that the iPhone X isn't going to outsell it in its lifetime, because the iPhone X will most likely sell the Note 8 in its lifetime. This year, though, the iPhone X will not outsell the Note 8 because of inventory constraints. Remember, a sale does not count till you get the phone. That's the main thing to understand. The sale does not count till you get the phone. Till they charge you the full amount when you get it, that's when the sale counts. Please throw some light on MWC of 2000 when Samsung announced their new phone. Does Apple really copied that and the mass production then after years waged a patent war against them? So here's what I can tell you. When it comes to the whole first Galaxy thing, the first Galaxy announcement was before the Apple announcement. However, it didn't come out till after the Apple announcement came out. So people definitely accused Samsung of copying everything Apple-based, even though their design was first. Their design was first out in the public eye. But yeah, it is what it is in terms of just everything when it comes to that. Overall, I'm sure both were copying both at that time. I mean, it wasn't crazy to do things like that at the time. It wasn't like, oh, that's working, let's do that, you know? LG, Motorola, Samsung, all of them copied each other at that time. It was common. But when it really got big is when it was really with Apple. You copy us, we're going to sue you. And that's when the whole patent stuff really started. Ricky, if advertising on the web is big bucks, why didn't other companies think of it first? Or were Google in the right place, right time? Google was in the right place, right time. Google definitely was in the right place, right time, for sure. Easily they were in the right place, right time. And Google has the biggest search engine in the world. It's the biggest search engine in the world. They bought YouTube, which is the biggest video watching service in the world. So they own the two biggest players in those two markets. They try to do the biggest social media, but that is Facebook, and that's where Facebook makes their advertising money. So how Facebook makes their advertising money is the same thing. All of those ads that you see on Facebook are geared towards you because they take your information and they pinpoint it to advertisers. So another company did do the same thing Google did, Facebook. Facebook is advertising revenue, pure and simple. That's where their advertising revenue is, or that's where their money comes from, is advertising revenue. The most compelling part of Bixby is, God, shut up, Bixby. Granular control over the phone through True Voice. Almost think that Samsung should license to Google when it's 100% optional. I think that would be a great idea for Bixby's software to be licensed to Google. I think that would be great to add to Google Assistant. Just found the original Galaxy S. Looks nothing like any iPhone. It wasn't the Galaxy S. It wasn't the Blaze. It was something along those lines. It was one of those generic where it's like the i9500 or something like that. It was something along those lines. I have like the dates that I used to save when people used to ask me that question, like, oh, what iPhone did that? Like, no, yeah. I don't have the images anymore. I'll tell you what, if I find the image, I will post it on Instagram, and that'll post on Twitter as well. Ricky, you and other YouTubers should protest against Google. YouTubers should make more money. It's hard filming, editing a video. It's a lot of work, and it goes into making those videos. That would be great, but it's not. We are all freelancers. We are not all. It's kind of like Uber make a union, right? It's like we are literally all freelancers. It's hard to make all that happen. If the A10X is already putting in 9,300 benchmarks on multi-score, and how does Qualcomm pound anywhere near the A11? We'll have to wait and see. Remember, Apple doesn't necessarily need to do a huge improvement comparing to their own chip. It just needs to have a bit more processing power. Apple doesn't care about specs in terms of that, so they just care about a higher output in terms of actually running smooth. And quite frankly, the A10X, the reason why the 10X was X was because of the GPU being a higher performance, and that's what really made it stand out. Yes, the multi-core is slightly better, but really it's that. It takes all the might in my body not to say something to all my friends who get their iOS updates and all the features Android phones have had for years. Yeah, that always happens. What do you think is the future of Apple? Of the most products are not good, and they do not bring anything new. Would it have the same fate as Nokia? Look, could a company as big as Apple fall? Yes. However, they have a lot of money to buy a lot of companies before doing that. They're like, oh shit, we're not doing good in speakers. Let's buy Beats. Oh shit, we're not doing good in our automation system. Let's buy Toyota. Let's buy Honda. They can do that. So that's Apple's fallback. Is not if they're doing bad in something, they can just literally buy another company. Yeah, but your friends are still getting software updates 2 or 3 years later. Yes, but those software updates slow down your phone to a crawl, so all kinds of stuff, right? there's always these things about Android and iOS. Android, you're not going to get the OS updates. I quite frankly don't think you need the OS updates in terms of your phone running great. However, when you do get the updates on an iPhone, if you have an update on an iPhone 6, iPhone 6 is much slower because it has all the latest updates compared to an iPhone 7 right now, because of the fact that that hardware is made for that software. That software is not made for that hardware. They make it compatible, but it doesn't run that well. Same thing with Android. When you get, I remember everyone kept asking me, when is Android 7.0 going to come to the S7 Edge? When is it going to come to the S7 Edge? I was a beta tester for it. I told you guys do not want Android 7.0 on your S7 Edge. It's going to make it suck. Sure enough, when it came out, oh my God, everyone told me, hey, I'm having this much problems with the S7 Edge. I'm like, I told you guys you didn't want it. I told you. But yeah. Why are iPods still being sold? Because they still make Apple money. They're not sold anywhere near as much, of course. Do you feel that phone technology is at its best, or is it just trickling at consumers to continue to profit? No, I mean, smartphones will be at a point where, can you imagine? I guarantee within the next 10 years, we're gonna have a smartphone that lasts a week. The battery life will last a week. Isn't that insane? That's insane to think of right now, right? But that's 10 years from now. 10 years from now was the first iPhone. 9 years from now was the first Android. Technology moves at a huge rate. There will be, yeah, I mean, AR, VR are in its infancy. There's going to be a point where you literally put on a VR headset and you can see your best friend next to you, and you guys can watch on a 150-inch screen TV the Super Bowl together. Like, that will be a reality one day. And that's what's so awesome about this, that you get to, we're going to get to live through all this kind of craziness. Ricky, which e-commerce site do you use? eBay or Amazon? To buy, I use Amazon most of the time. However, I have bought stuff off eBay when it's on sale. To sell, I use eBay. So I need to stick with Marshmallow on my Nexus 7 2013. I will say this, if you update Nexus all the way, again, it runs slower. Even on a Nexus, it does run slower. I have my Nexus 10 still, and the newer the software, the slower it has run compared to what it did before. I miss the days where the Note was head and shoulders above all others. Yeah, the Note 7 really was. The Note 7 was better than every phone from last year. I still maintain that. The Note 7, look, if you guys saw my top 10 phones of last year, the Note 7 topped it. The Note 7 did top it. It was still the best phone that came out last year. And here's the thing. In every other YouTuber's channel, pretty much, you've heard the same thing. The Note 7 was pretty much the creme de la creme last year. Will the Note 8 be? I don't know. I don't know if Samsung is putting out what we're seeing right now, then no, it won't be. And that'll be a shock to me specifically, as I've loved the Note series since they've come out. Since the Note 2, I would say, was the biggest thing, but the Note 3, Note 4, all these Notes have been amazing. Why none of the Android phones can beat the single-core Geekbench score of the iPhone 7? Tell us Snapdragon versus Apple chips. That's a lot to go through. And Kirin processors are actually one of the best. Kirin multi-core scores are amazing. That's Huawei's chip maker. They all do stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, they all do stuff to help their scores. I know OnePlus got dinged for it, but on day-to-day usage is what really matters. Geekbench and all that kind of stuff. Here's the thing. They are not optimized, all of them, on each OS. That is a true thing too. And yeah, it's there's a lot to it. I could do a whole video on that because it is just so much. And we are over, guys. We are an hour and 45 minutes. This is an hour show. What the hell? What did you guys do to me today? All right. I'm only answering these questions. That's it. Smartphone do almost everything tablets do. So tablets don't really sell as much. Correct. Tablet sales have dropped tremendously. And as smartphones get bigger, tablets get more useless. Would you use your phone for music or get an iPod? I would use my phone for music. Best phone that didn't exist in the Note 7. Is true Melinta and other camera companies are going back to film? No, not that I know of. Minolta, though, wasn't... Minolta lenses were sold to Sony, but I don't know what other part of the company is still around. Apple single core scores are higher because they have less cores. Yeah, all Apple makes sure that all apps can run on one core because of their infrastructure. Alright guys, I'm gonna call that a night. Calling it a night. An hour and 45 minutes, guys. This is the longest show I've ever done. Alright guys, we're gonna call it a night. Thank you guys again as always so much for watching. Before you leave, make sure to give a like, thumbs up. Especially, you know, my wife's probably gonna be mad at me because she can't use the internet to stream anything while I do the show, so she's probably gonna yell at me right now. So I blame you guys for my wife yelling at me in a few minutes. Alright guys, thank you as always so much for watching. Make sure to give a like, thumbs up. Check out all the shows we have coming out, all the videos we have coming out this week, as well as we are of course going to have our giveaway announcement tomorrow, and we're gonna announce the other products we're gonna be giving away. By the way, when we hit 200,000 subscribers, we are going to give away, I want to set the goal, I'm not promising this, I want to set the goal to 10 products. We're going to be giving away 10 products when we hit 200,000 subscribers. And at least one phone will be there. At least we will give away one phone. Alright guys, thank you as always for watching. Let's get to those 200,000 subscribers so I can give you guys a lot of free stuff. Thank you again. This has been RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy.